Hey, happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm pretty impressed. Like, everyone's here, and we're pretty much on time and like ready to go. So I think you should be pretty proud of yourselves because I'm sure you've had a long week, just like I've had a long week, right? And you're like, man, Friday afternoon, do I really want to go to this whole like workshop thing? I know I told her I would go, but everyone's here, so I'm pretty excited about that. I think I know most of you, but I know some of you also know Marisol Mastrangelo from Trio, who couldn't be here today, but I think she'll be back next week. So yeah, we're super excited to get started with TC Connect. We had our first workshop for the Tuesday afternoon crowd on Tuesday, and just like you all, they were all on time. They were like ready to go. It was pretty awesome. So I think we're gonna have a pretty action-packed afternoon. Also, in case you're wondering, like the whole videoing thing, so we still have a couple more spots for the program. We're trying to video the session, so for students who weren't able to join us for the first session or two, we also have a record of it. So they're mostly just videoing me. So don't worry if you're not wanting to be on camera, like don't worry, because you're mostly not gonna be on camera. Yeah, so we're excited to get started. I'm glad everyone's here. Hopefully you signed in, made a name tag, and also got the PowerPoint slides. So hopefully you did that. Yeah, and we're gonna get started. Obviously there'll be times when I'm talking, but there's also gonna be a lot of times when you all are talking to each other. So just kind of keep that in mind. This is not going to be like your 50-minute lecture Monday, Wednesday, Friday where the professor's just like droning on. So if that's what you're hoping it was going to be like, it's not going to actually be like that. So here's just kind of a rundown of what we're going to cover today. And yeah, and we're just going to get ourselves started. The first thing we're going to do is a little icebreaker, just because I think want to make sure you guys actually start getting to know each other. Because this year is going to be really boring if you don't actually meet anybody in this program. Like that's part of the program as well, is to meet other students. So I don't know if you guys have ever played Four Corners before. Sometimes it's called like something else, but this is what I call it. And this room is a really weird size, and so we're gonna like, I've kind of adjusted what I consider a corner for this activity. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna read off a statement, and then each statement corresponds to a number. So if you look over there, which you may not be able to see, that's 1, kind of in that far corner, 2's by that door, 3, and then 4. And I'll read off the statement. It corresponds to each number, and then you're going to actually vote with your feet and like go to the corner that corresponds to the statement that's true for you. And then when you get to that area, you're going to introduce yourself like, hi, I'm Missy, I'm a freshman, or I'm a senior, and you're going to kind of just chat with the people in that area. It's just like kind of to get you up out of your seat. It's kind of fun. It's nice to meet other people. Don't worry, these questions are like pretty superficial. They're nothing crazy. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. So the first statement says, I consider my hometown to be. So number 1 is the city of Chicago. Number 2 are the suburbs of Chicago. 3 is another state or country. And 4 is it's complicated. So 1 is the city of Chicago, 2 are the suburbs, 3 another state or country, 4 is it's complicated, and kind of chat with people, find out where they're from. If you're from Chicago, I want to know like north side, west side, south side, what neighborhood, all that good stuff. Chicago, the suburbs, another state, it's complicated. And I might decide to merge 3 and 4 together so that we have somebody else to chat with. Cool. See what I mean? It would have been too crazy. Okay. Okay. Got it. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of a recap. So I'm curious, did anyone like hear about a movie that you want to see, or anything that kind of came up that you think would be something you want to share? You met somebody who likes the same kind of movies as you do? A little. Okay, so we're going to do like a big group debrief. So as a group, so I'm curious, did you meet somebody in your group who likes the same kind of movies you like, or maybe you like the same movie, or you heard about a new movie that you want to see? Because this is a way, right, to sort of like get to know people. because you guys will be spending quite a bit of time together.
Oh, just share one.
Yeah, or share. You talked to somebody and it came up. Wait. So we're gonna listen to Steve. So Steve's over here.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys like these same movies we were talking about. I mean, we were kind of split between action and comedy, and one thing that we kept bringing up was like we like Marvel movies because they kind of have both of the genres mixed together.
Marvel movies. That's what I was thinking.
And they have comedy in them too.
Okay, so we have a lot of Marvel fans. Okay.
Ant-Man's a good movie too.
Okay, Ant-Man.
You seen the second one?
Yeah.
See?
I haven't seen it.
Oh man.
I know they said the ending was insane. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. It has to do with Infinity War.
Okay.
Okay, lots of Marvel fans. Okay, what about, this is interesting. Who knew? I didn't know you guys were all Marvel fans. We should have like a Marvel group and we could do all this stuff. What about somebody else? Any like somebody else you met or like something that came up that you were talking about?
All right, who likes rom-coms?
Romantic comedy.
I do.
I kind of like them too.
Yeah, right? See, that's why you asked. That's why you asked.
I mean, do you have any specific ones?
The Proposal.
I haven't seen that one.
It's like a classic now, which is crazy because when it came out, we were like smaller.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
51st Dates, yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Yeah, I know. When Harry Met Sally is kind of an oldie but goodie. If you haven't seen that one, it's
Or The Notebook.
The Notebook. Yeah. What? So I have a question. Does anyone like documentaries? Because that wasn't a choice. Does anybody? Because I like documentaries sometimes too.
It's based on what it's about.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't mind them.
Man, we have a lot of good, interesting opinions, like about movies. I did not know that was going to generate so much discussion. Interesting. Okay, great. So I'm going to have you go back to wherever you're sitting, and we're going to kind of keep on trucking. Oh, man, I have it. Okay. So why do you think we just did kind of a like get up, kind of talk to people? We didn't talk about anything related to like careers, majors, like professional development, networking, that type. We didn't do any of that. So why do you think we just spent, I don't know, like 10, 12 minutes doing that? What do you guys think?
See what we have in common that we like.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Also, because like some of you know each other, but a lot of you don't know each other, right? And it can feel kind of intimidating to go into a group of people or into a room and you feel like everybody knows each other. So I feel like it's good to kind of break that down a little bit. Anything else? Yeah, building relationships. Like there's a reason that this program is not just for a semester, and it's also not just one workshop. It was supposed to kind of build on each other. We want you all to get to know each other so that you feel like you're making sure you have a community here at UIC. So for all those reasons, plus it's just like more fun. Like you don't want to like listen to me talk for like an hour and a half. Like that would be terrible. So yeah, so we're trying to build those pieces in as well. Sometimes the activities will be more kind of career focused, sometimes they won't. It kind of just depends on how we're trying to craft the workshop. Okay, so I do want to get down to like the nuts and bolts a little bit, especially because this is a new program, and we want to make sure you all have a sense of what's going to happen first semester and then what's going to happen second semester. So hopefully you guys have a copy of the handouts or of the PowerPoint, and that's something too, like as a kind of a side note. I'd really love for you all if you can get like a folder or like a binder or like a place you're going to put your TC Connect stuff if possible, just so that way it's not kind of all everywhere. Because at the end of the year, you might want to refer to things that we talked about, and it'd be nice for you to have a kind of a place to do that. So just something to think about. If you have a binder or a folder, that would be great. And also, I'm also really open to feedback. Like if you all really don't ever want to get the slides, but then potentially we don't have to give them to you. But I also thought sometimes it's nice to have that to refer back to. So that's kind of a side note about the slides and how we're trying to get information to everyone. Okay, so first semester, this is mostly going to be about you first semester, like learning about your interests, learning about your values, and also like learning about other people in the group and kind of learning more about them. But also learning about what's going on campus, so that, hey, is there a group on campus that's related to something you think you want to do? Just what are all the groups on campus? Like, are there events on campus going on that you might be interested in, especially related to career stuff? So this semester, it's mostly about yourself, kind of like learning about yourself and your interests. And then next semester, and also about campus. And then, and next semester, I'll tell you in a minute about what we're going to do a little bit more next semester. And then here are the dates for this semester. I know we gave you all the dates like in paper format, you gave the dates in electronic format, but let's be real, like you all are pretty busy, right? A lot of people have 1 job, 2 jobs, lots of family responsibilities, a lot of you are commuting back and forth to campus, some of you live here. But so we really prefer if you could put these like in your phone or in your calendar. If you're like me, you might have to set 2 reminders, 2 alarms, so that way you know what's going on. So these are the dates, and they won't change. And then next semester, Marisol and I are kind of working on what the dates are going to be for next semester. So this is just like a friendly reminder. The other thing I wanted to just make sure that I talk a little bit about is that I think that, that you all have heard that this program is new, but I don't know how many, some of you might know a little bit about the process, why Marisol and I decided to apply for funding for the program, why we wanted to develop the program, and some of you have heard this, but I don't know if you all have. So Marisol works in TRIO, and she sees all the students who are in TRIO. I work in career services. I meet with students on anything related to career stuff. And I think we both were seeing that students just have a lot of questions and sometimes a lot of confusion around, what do I want to do with my degree? What am I going to do after I graduate? How do I get a job? I have an interview coming up. What do I do about that? And so we were having individual conversations with a lot of students, and we thought, well, that's kind of dumb, because it'd be more fun to sort of do it together so that students could connect with each other versus doing things individually. And that's why we basically submitted an application. We worked on it in March, submitted it in April, and then went back and forth with the powers that be to try to get the money. We didn't get it till almost the beginning of August. So it's a process, and I think we spent a lot of time on it because we wanted this to be helpful for all of you. So we're excited to actually launch this program. We've been talking about it since March. But I think also because a lot of the students at UIC, as you guys know, are the first in their families to go to college, and sometimes have a lot of questions especially about careers. And one thing that we're excited about is that first-generation college students also are very resilient, right? You work hard, and you may have a lot of questions, but you figure out how to get them answered. And we wanted you all to see that as a strength of yourself if you're a first-generation college student, not a liability. It's a good thing to be first-generation, but we also want to make sure you're getting all the resources that you need to be successful. So that's just something to think about, too, specifically for students who are first-generation. We want this to be helpful, but also we wanted you to connect with each other as much as you're connecting with all of us. So, sorry, that was my soapbox talk about first-generation college students. So second semester, we're going to do a little bit more about kind of the nuts and bolts of interviewing, resumes, and networking. We're going to teach you all, in case you don't already know, how to do some networking, and then we're going to bring grown-ups to campus, and then you get to network with them here on campus. I think it's going to actually be really fun, but it's a lot more of the professional pieces second semester. This semester is a little bit more about all of you and also about getting to know campus. The other thing to add that I think is also pretty cool about the program is that we have, 5 students that are called peer guides, and then we also have a program assistant. And so these are students who are juniors and seniors at UIC who are part of this program too, and they're going to share kind of their lessons learned with all of you, and each one of you is going to have, if you're a first-year student at UIC or a second-year student at UIC, you're going to have a peer guide. Can the peer guides just raise their hand for a second, just so people know, and the program assistant can just raise their hand and people know who they are. So yeah, so they're going to come to all the workshops, and then by next workshop, we're going to try to match the peer guides with all the student participants, so then you'll soon know who your peer guide is, and you'll meet with that person. The hope is once a month. And we'll talk more about that, but just so you know, I think that's kind of a cool part of the program and something that is different, I think, from a lot of other programs on campus. Questions about any of that stuff? That was a lot of spiely things to talk about. The other thing, I have a question for all of you is, why do you think that TC Connect, when we designed it and we proposed it, it's specifically for first-year students at UIC, first-year freshmen, sophomores, and then first-year transfer students? Why do you think that was intentional? Why aren't we focusing on, seniors who are maybe going to graduate soon, or focusing more on juniors? What do you guys think? Because I think that's important to just kind of consider, why that was built into the program. Steve?
Because maybe you guys have their juniors already. They might have already found out a lot about the courses. Just just asking questions.
That's a good hypothesis. I hadn't thought about that. That could be true. That's interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. Why else? Because maybe if you've been here for a while, you're kind of more connected, on campus and stuff. Why are other reasons you think it's focusing mostly on like first and second year and then first year transfer students? Wayne?
Retention, I would say, because if it's overwhelming your first year and it's just kind of scary,
Okay.
you don't have anyone to turn to ask these questions. You just kind of like decide to do something else.
Got it. So you're saying, when you say retention, you're saying like maybe you start here as a first year student or like a first year transfer student, but then kind of what Steve is saying, and then if you have all these questions and you like can't get them answered, then you're saying like maybe you wouldn't come back for like the next year. Is that right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Sama, are you like nodding your head too, or? Yeah. Okay, I wasn't sure if that was a nod. Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a big chunk of it, is that, UIC is a wonderful place, but it's really big and like kind of overwhelming and kind of confusing, and there's like different departments, but they kind of do the same stuff, but then they do different stuff, and then people don't always know like what department to go to for what. Even for us sometimes as staff members, I'm like, oh crap, like I don't know what they do. Right? And so we're trying to make sure that to get you the resources that you need and make sure you understand, like if you want to get involved in Las Ganas, for example, like what does Las Ganas do? Or if you want to be in Lattes, like what does Lattes do? Making sure you're getting connected to those departments on campus. And the retention piece, I think, is a big piece as well. But it was specifically not targeting seniors. Like seniors, the only seniors in this program are the peer guides. Like we had seniors who wanted to be in TC Connect, and it's not for seniors, and it's also not for juniors, unless you're a first year transfer student. But it's also because we want to make sure that you're getting involved on campus. It's good to do that in your first couple of years here versus your last semester as well. So that was a piece of it as well. So just like for you to think about, like why is it first year students and second year students versus other students? Okay, so, oh man, wait, hold on a second. I might be having issues. That's not good. Okay, good thing. I think I switched the slide order, but I didn't mean to. So what are some things I want to make sure you know not to expect from this program? You won't actually be told what to do. No one is actually going to tell you what to do as far as your careers and your majors. We'll help you with resources. We'll help you try to sort through things and make good decisions and thinking about your interests and your skills, but we're not going to tell you what to do. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's intentionally like, I will not tell you what to major in, and I will not tell you what career option you should pursue? It's pretty intentional, like that. I'm setting that up as an expectation in case, making sure you understand that that's not going to happen. Why do you think it's like specifically, we're not going to do that? What do people think? Why do you think that program is set up to not tell you what to do? See? Are you going to guess? What?
I think through the PowerPoint, I think I read something about this, and then it kind of really made sense because you hear a lot of people, especially people who come from let's say maybe, I don't know where for. But point is, some people's families might have expectations of them. They want to be told to the medical field.
Yep.
Become lawyers, and they might
Yep.
go into careers that they're not really interested in
Uh-huh.
because they want to satisfy like their parents' I guess requests. They just go into a field.
Totally. Yeah, that was in the PowerPoint. Good for you. That was like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, no, that's true though, right? Like I think my family had expectations for me, like when I was in college about like what they thought that I should be doing, and sometimes that matched what I wanted to do, and like sometimes it didn't. And that can be really complicated if you want to like live up to what your family wants of you, but what your family wants for you and what you want for yourself are like not necessarily the same thing. That can be really difficult, and that we're actually going to talk more in depth like about that. But that is a really good point. Also, like, you, even if you feel like you don't, we're going to try to help you really uncover your interests and career options that could be a good fit for you. But I trust you. Like, you're the author of your own life. That's what the second bullet point says. Like, you actually are, and we're here to help you sort through things and kind of weigh different options. But I don't want to tell you what to do because I don't actually know what you should do because it's you and not me. I can tell you what I should do, but I can't actually tell you what you should do. And I think that sometimes people feel like, especially if you're undecided about majors, people can feel like, well, I just want somebody to tell me what to do. And I'm like, no, but it's your life. We want you to pick something that you're interested in and that has value for you. But I think the family piece, our families generally like love us and want the best for us, but sometimes also they don't always understand like how different jobs and careers work either. And so that can be complicated when they're giving you advice, and maybe they might know a lot about it or they might not. So just to be clear, what not to expect, in case you're hoping that I was going to tell you what to do. Okay, so, but what I do want to do, because we're actually all going to spend a lot of time together this year, is to come up with some expectations that we're going to have of each other, so then that way we know what to expect when we're coming to workshops and when we're all working together. So I'm going to take notes and also try to facilitate this conversation at the same time. So what are things we expect from each other when we're all here working together? I'll give you an example, and then I want to hear a lot from all of you. So I'm going to put being physically and then mentally present. So that means like, I know we all have a lot on our minds, especially at the end of the week, you know, like homework or family stuff. But like when you're here, like I want your brain to be here as much as your body is here, because I think you'll get a lot more out of it. Sometimes that's hard to be physically and mentally present, but we're going to try. Okay. Other people have ideas. I did this with the Tuesday group, and they kind of have their own expectations, and then we're going to make ours together. What are things that people think we could have expectations? And we can kind of talk about it. Are people okay with being physically and mentally present? Does that sound like, okay, sorry. I always want to check in with you to make sure that like it sounds okay. What about other people? Any other thoughts about what we're going to kind of agree to together? I want to do a time check. What do people think? Okay, so Alexa's saying, and do you want us to call you Alexa? Yeah? Okay, so be respectful of others. Can you just say a little bit more, like for you, like what does that mean? If someone says be respectful, can you like contextualize that for us?
Like if someone is talking, not talking over them, or not like, I don't know, like laughing at someone, I don't know.
No, yeah. Okay, so like maybe not talking over somebody, like not, like if you can laugh at somebody if they're trying to be funny, but like, but if they're not trying to be funny, right? Like, really being thoughtful about that? Oh man, I'm a terrible speller.
Don't laugh at somebody who just said that their dog died.
Okay. And people when they don't want to be funny. Okay, does that sound okay? Man. Rough times. Okay. What about for other people? Thank you for sharing, Alexa. Other folks. All right, come on, people. Don't Bueller me on Friday afternoon. I think Jesse's gonna like start. Our videographer's gonna like start sharing expectations. Well, that's what she said. But that's a good one. What about some other stuff? Yes, Barbara.
Like the understanding that people come from different backgrounds, so they have like different understanding of different concepts.
Yes. I think that's such a good one. Like, just be understanding, right? Because people come from different backgrounds. Is that right? Does that sound what you? Okay. And I mean, because if you come from a different, like we all actually come from different backgrounds, but it's like you have a different frame of reference. And what's your family and culture accepts, like my family and culture like may not accept. And so like how do you be as respectful as possible? Thank you. That's a really good one. Yes? Laura?
Yes. Not be afraid to ask questions.
Yes.
Just like be completely honest.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This career stuff's like really complicated. Even I get confused. So like, yes, ask questions. And you said be honest? Okay. With your questions. Yeah, absolutely. Or like be honest, like if I'm talking too fast. Like, hey, Missy, can you like please slow down? Yeah, sure. What else? Thank you. Well, one thing you all are mostly doing, so we set up an expectation, but I appreciate it, is like, can you put if your cell phone's not on like silent or vibrate, can you just do that? Just so, because I mean, I get distracted. Like I get distracted by my phone if I'm presenting, but I get distracted by you all if you're on your phone, because then I'm like, well, what are they doing? Is that interesting? I want to know what they're looking at. So if your phone's not on silent or vibrate, can you do that? Because I just think I literally will get distracted and then I won't be able to talk. So please put cell phones on silent or vibrate. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Okay, anything else? Nick?
Be active or responsive, so whether it's participating in the activities that we're doing in workshops or even active and responsive in responding to emails, texts,
Cool.
questions, online and in person.
Okay, I think that sounds okay. Are people okay with this? Yes. And I would also say, like, we all get really busy. Like, you guys are busy, like, we're busy. So also, like, if something's coming up and it's preventing you from being responsive, like, let us know. Like, hey, like, I just moved, or like, there's some craziness going on at home. Like, let us know, and then we can try to figure out, like, how to work with you in case you are struggling to be potentially responsive. But that was a good one. Thank you. Anyone else? Karen.
Applying what you learn to your life. Don't just let this go into 1 year and not do it.
Oh man, that's a like intense one. Can you give us an example? I like that one.
Sure. So let's say for this week we're talking about myths in the workplace. And prior to this workshop, you thought like you let your ideas of what having a career is hold you back from exploring a kind of job that you didn't think you would be able to explore. Out of this workshop, now you know that some things aren't what they seem, so don't be afraid to look into those jobs, even if it scares you a little bit.
Okay, no, that I think that's a really good point. So I'll like type them up to look better. You'll see these again. Like we're not making these today and then you never see them again. And also, like, you guys might want to add some. And like I said, the Tuesday group, like you guys are similar, but it's interesting. They took a little bit of a different tactic, so that's kind of interesting. So you'll see these again. We can add to them. Also, we can take something away if we decide that as we go on, you're like, nah, cut that one. Like, let's get rid of that one. I won't be flexible on the cell phone thing, sorry. But some of the other things I might be flexible on, but not the cell phone thing, because I will get distracted. But I do think Karen's point too about like the open-minded stuff about career stuff is a really good point. So like when I was in college, like I ended up getting involved on campus as college went on. I never thought that I'd work at a college. Like, why would I want to work with college students? Ugh, like that sounds terrible. And like I really like my job and I really like working with all of you, but when I was in college, definitely had a closed mind about the fact that that would be fun. Even like I was so dumb. I was really involved in college. Like, why wouldn't I want to work at a college? And so I was not very open-minded. So just something to think about. Thank you guys for participating. This is a good example of like how to do it. And if you don't participate, I will just say like you're Buellering me, and then you know. Have you guys seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Yeah. Oh, thank goodness. Secret fact. That's where I went to high school where they filmed it. Secret fact. Some of it's like a set, but most of it is my high school. Craziness. It doesn't really look like that anymore, but it did in the 80s. So, I know, my claim to fame, I'm famous. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, and then I'm going to put you in groups to do something with this. It's called our TC Connect program pillars. So basically, Marisol and I have spent, as you could probably tell, a lot of time thinking about this program, wanting to really be as helpful to all of you as possible, and we came up with what we think are pillars. Sometimes companies will call these values that we think are important to keep in mind when you're thinking about your careers and planning for your future, right? So the pillars are curiosity, follow through, be willing to try, which is kind of what Karen was talking about, an open mind. I would say they're kind of similar, and then also being reflective. Right? Because if you're going to learn about it, a lot of different things, we want you to be able to apply them and learn about them versus like just have words on a paper. And so you'll see on the slide and also on your notes that there's sort of examples of what these different pillars sound like. And so what I want you all to do, I'm going to have you count off into groups. I'm going to have you count off by threes. And what question in your group you guys are going to answer is, why are these pillars important when thinking about careers and developing a career plan? So why are these important when you're thinking about developing a career plan, thinking about careers? We're going to start counting off with Wayne, and we're literally go like 1, 2, 3, and then Asema will go 1, 2, 3, and then you'll kind of split up into groups. Can you start us off, Wayne? So that's okay. You got it.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Did everybody count? Whew. Okay. So like, how do we have 1s, 2s over there, and then maybe 3s kind of in the back? And so the question is like, why are these pillars important when thinking about developing a career plan and thinking about careers? That's funny. Okay, time check. Okay, cool. Perfect. Focus on. Okay, are you guys clear on the question?
You're asking why are they important?
Thinking about like careers and career plans. Yep. Okay. You guys all ended up in the same group? How did this happen? Are you guys clear on the question?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah, we just discussed every pillar, right?
But no, like, yeah, like, we want to like look at them and think, like, why are they important, right? Like, why did we pick them? We could have picked other pillars. Like, why do you think these are part of it?
Okay.
Related to careers.
So like for me, I want to first, but I don't necessarily specifically apply to something. So like
So, first of all, I forgot to tell you, obviously the candy's here for a reason, so like feel free to eat it. We'll try to provide like candy or like granola bars or whatever. It's just like, I don't know, it's like a pick-me-up. But also, if you have food allergies or if you have like dietary restrictions, like just let us know, so that way we don't want you to get allergic to something that we're providing. So like, just please let us know. But I kind of popped around each group and spied a little bit. It sounds like you guys are having some interesting conversations. The other thing to think about, I don't know if this came up in your groups, I didn't hear all the conversations, is that we're going to talk more today, but then as the year goes on, like there's been a lot of research about what employers are looking for when they hire new graduates, when they hire people in general, and you're going to see that these pillars, things like curiosity, be willing to try, follow through, like those are things that companies are also looking for, and employers are looking for when they hire people. So we also thought it'd be good for us to kind of emphasize these and talk about these so that you're developing the skills and the thought process that companies and employers are looking for in the future too. I think also I would make an argument that almost all of these are things that really even relate to your classes, right? Like I'm sure all of us have to maybe take at least 1 or 2 classes that are like bleh, like you really don't like. But then trying to keep an open mind about it also can be helpful as far as how you actually do in the class. So thank you guys for talking with each other and kind of just sharing some ideas. We are going to actually keep moving. So you can stay where you are, or you can go back to your seats. Well, actually, can you go back to your seats? I think that's easier. So thank you for chatting with folks and thinking about these pillars. These pillars are also, we're going to keep talking about these as well. So they're not going away. Okay, so almost all of you have met with either myself or Marisol to talk about your interest in the program, and we took some information from you. You had to do a fun survey. Thank you for doing the survey. And you may not remember, but we took notes about some of your questions related to careers or career exploration. Just so you know, now the sheet is almost 4 pages, single space of everyone's questions. So I basically kind of went through the questions and then tried to like kind of make themes out of it, and I just thought it was really interesting to think about. Also helps Marisol and I think about what we want to kind of focus on in the group. But yeah, like you guys have a lot of really thoughtful questions. People have questions about working on or off campus, how to find internships, even how to talk to professors, right? Because that's part of getting involved on campus is developing relationships with professors. Steve's point, he mentioned this idea of like, what if your family wants you to do one thing, but you want to do something different, making resumes, all these things. So just, you're not the only person on this campus that has a lot of career-related questions, and we're going to try to dive in and try to work on these questions through workshops. You also are going to meet with me during the year, and we'll talk about some of these questions as well. So just something to think about. Like, there's a lot of questions out there, and I would also kind of argue that part of the reason that you all and like college students in general have so many questions about career stuff is like Think about in high school or in middle school, or if you went to community college before this, how many classes did you take that were focusing on exploring different career options and like making a resume? How many classes, like academic classes that you have taken focusing on some of these things? Anyone? Yeah, right. I mean, sometimes high schools do it, but it's not, it's kind of uncommon. How many classes have you, like science classes have you taken? Like a lot, right? Like chemistry, biology, like math classes, pre-algebra, algebra. There's no classes about this. I think that's also part of why it's so confusing. And if you're the first person in your family to pursue like a more professional career, your family may not have the tools to help you. So part of the reason you don't know is also because there's no classes like this, right? You have to kind of figure it out on your own, which is part of why we wanted to make the program. So there's lots of people, just like all of you, who are trying to figure things out. Okay. So, as far as figuring things out, I think what is interesting for us to think about is when people think about career paths, people think about like in a linear way, right? Like I'm majoring in, English, and then I will just like be an English teacher for like, 40 years or whatever. Why do we want to think about careers like that? Why is that? Why do we want to think about it like in this way, very like linear, very straight? What do you guys think? Why is that people are like, we just want to think about it like it's just super kind of linear, it's kind of pretty easy? What do you guys think? Why? What are some of the reasons that we want it to be linear, we want it to be a straight line? Maybe I'll ask I'm going to ask a different question. So what contributes to us thinking it's like this? I think that might be an easier question. Laura?
Well, I like to think of it in a way like, as in like, when your parents are kind of like trying to be nice to you and tell you like, oh, you'll be okay if you don't go that way, but then they're like, oh wait, you'll hit financial struggles, you'll just go through a lot of problems that you don't want to go through. So it's kind of like the pressure to just stick with what you were going to
do like originally and then just keep going. Okay, yeah, I think that's part of it, why we want it to be really straight and linear. What contributes to us thinking about it like this? She brought up your family or your parents. Karen?
This one kind of also applies to your previous question, but in the end, it all boils down to fear. We're all a little bit scared of the unknown. And if you don't know what your life will look like for the next 10 years, that can be a harder choice than knowing what it will look like in the next 10 years. So saying, I'm going to be a doctor and I'll be done with grad school by this year, et cetera, versus I like art and I don't know how long it'll take me, but I'm going to do something with it. That's all.
So it almost makes you feel like you have control in a way if you do it that way. Interesting. What are, Barbara?
Also, like, it's easier to think about it like just the end goal, like, this, but not like about the things you have to go through.
The steps that you have to take in order to reach your end goal. Yeah, totally. Also, I think it's so interesting that nobody brought up. I think a big part of why we think it's like this also, in addition to everything else you all said, is like kind of like the media, right? Like social media, like news stories, that type of stuff I think also contributes to what we think it's like. I also think like 30, 40, 50 years ago, this was actually kind of true. Yeah, like you started a job here and then you just kind of did it for a long time. That's not true anymore. For better or for worse, that's not true. I personally think it's actually for better. This is actually what career paths actually look like, because careers are changing. Like 10 years ago, you couldn't have taken a Lyft or an Uber because it didn't exist, it wasn't a thing, right? And now some people make a living by driving Uber and Lyft. And there's lots of jobs like that 10 years ago, like it wasn't a thing and now it is. And so you actually can't plan out your life for the next 30 or 40 years, because in 30 or 40 years, jobs will have evolved in a way that sometimes, in some ways, we can't anticipate. I also think this is more interesting, because sometimes what happens, so like I told you, when I was in college, I didn't think I'd work at a university. I thought I was gonna work in marketing, and I did some of that, and I didn't like it that much. And then I had to kind of change paths. And so I'm glad that I had the freedom to choose and to figure it out. So sometimes if you think it's linear, you're not going to be open to another experience that might change your mind, that might make you think you want to do something else. I think there's a lot more freedom to this. I also just think we just have more options. There's more jobs and careers now than there were before. And this is another reason, this sort of like twisty, curvy route is another reason why we really encourage, and we're going to work with you all to make sure you're getting involved on campus, Because if you participate in different activities or events on campus, it might change your mind. You might be exposed to something that you didn't know about, whereas if you just decide you're only going to go to UIC to go to classes and go home, you're going to miss out on opportunities to learn about different career options. And so that twisty, curvy road, while overwhelming, actually helps us understand there's a lot of different options. Karen, were you going to share something?
Yeah, also, if you think about it, nowadays there's a lot of competitiveness for specific jobs.
Okay.
And what is cool about this new way of thinking is that even if your career path hasn't looked like the traditional one, like to become a, I don't know, like a news reporter, you have to do this, this, and this. You could have done something like this within career services and still eventually become a news reporter. If you're to like apply for things that are different.
Yeah, right, because there's more freedom, but in some sense to choose, then I think that competitive thing actually helps you potentially, maybe you're going to develop more skills because you also want to be a more competitive applicant as well. Absolutely. All those things I think are true. Okay, so we also want to talk briefly about myths. There's a lot of myths out there about like your major and your career, and so I want to dispel some of them, but also actually give you facts and give you information that you can use hopefully in the future. So I've heard a lot of students tell this to me when I meet with them for career advising. So students say something along the lines of like, I should know what I want to major in and what my career goals are because everyone else knows what they want to do. Has anyone ever felt like this? I always felt like this in college. I changed my major 3 times in college, so I'm pretty familiar with this whole process. Yeah, like actually that's not true. There's a lot of different statistics out there, but they say something along the lines of like about 30% of students change their major at least once, and 1 in 10 students change their major twice. And this is from the National Center on Education Statistics as part of the federal government. They do a lot of data work, so they generally know what they're talking about. Not everybody knows what they want to do. It's okay to not know, but it's also important to take ownership of figuring it out, which is part of what this program is going to do, especially if you're feeling really confused. We're going to do some work together to try to help you get clearer on what type of major you're interested in. So, anyone ever said this, thought this one? But I think people always feel like everybody else has it figured out. But actually, like, I don't actually think that that's true. It's just the perception. It's kind of like when you guys, if you go on Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat or whatever, and Instagram, you look at people's pictures, and you're like, wow, that's awesome. Like, they have totally figured stuff out. Anyone ever feel like that? Like, being real, right? Go on social media, you're just like, whoa. But then people don't usually post their confusions. People don't post, sometimes people do, but people don't always post when they had a crappy day or something happened or they got confused. People post, they curate it. They post the good stuff, not necessarily the complicated stuff. And I think there's a lot of complication that we don't always want to talk about, right? And so it's okay to be confused about what you want to do career-wise, but it's also important to figure it out. Okay, so another myth I hear a lot too is that my college degree, undergraduate degree, determines the type of career I'm going to have for the rest of my life. Anyone ever thought about this? I feel like this drives fear in a lot of college students' hearts, that like my degree is going to like, and yeah. So the cool thing is, it's actually mostly not true. There's some careers where what you major in does really impact your career options, but I would say that's way less common than more common. So like, what's a career that you have to major in something in order to be able to do that? Anyone have thoughts about that? Medicine? Well, actually, not necessarily. Sorry, I think my watch is breaking. I just want to see what time it was. Actually, that's not true. If you want to be a doctor, eventually you have to go to grad school and go to medical school, but this is more undergrad. Because if you want to be a doctor, you can major in music as long as you take all the prereqs in order to get into medical school. Yes, Asema? Yes, ding, ding, ding. Yes, you want to be an engineer, you actually have to major in engineering because you got to learn all that crazy stuff about how to keep buildings up, those types of things. So yes, engineering is one, you have to major in that. If you got an undergrad degree in something else, you can go to graduate school and get a degree in engineering, but you have to have an engineering degree generally to be an engineer. That's a good one. What's any other ones? Some of you in this room, I think, are interested in careers that you need to major in something in order to do that. Yes, exactly. The people who like stand up in front of you in like elementary school, middle school, high school, preschool. Yes, if you especially want to teach in public school, you have to get a degree in education because you get a teaching certificate along the way. So yes, teachers generally in public schools have a teaching certificate. They have a degree in that area. Anything else? It's kind of crazy if you think about it. There are some careers, but there's not actually that many. It's insane. Sometimes graduate school, to whoever's point that was, yes, graduate school, if you want to be an attorney, you want to be a lawyer, yeah, you do have to go to law school, but that's grad school, not undergrad. And also the other thing too is that people don't have the same job anymore over the course of their lifetime. I actually think it's kind of terrifying to have the same job for 40 years. That just sounds boring. Like, I think I would get bored after a while. So they say that people have 3 to 5 careers over the course of their lifetime, not jobs, actual careers, right? The US Bureau of Labor Statistics. So like, I would say, like, I'm sort of a good example of that. So I told you, I thought I was going to do marketing, and then I ended up changing my mind, and I did some nonprofit work. I thought I wanted to teach. And then this is kind of a form of teaching, right? But it's a little bit more of advising. So I have a communications degree, I have an education degree, and I have a counseling degree. All of those things actually help me do my job. Marty Stoll and I had to figure out how to market this program to all of you. I'm teaching all of you now. And then also the counseling piece helps me work with students more one-on-one. So sometimes your degrees can support you even if it seems a little bit more complicated than that. Yeah, so that's just something to think about. Most likely what you undergrad major doesn't determine what you're going to do. However, you shouldn't major in something that you're not very interested in because you're going to take a lot of classes about it. We want you to be passionate and interested about what you're majoring in because that's something that you want to, if you're going to spend time on it, right, you want to be interested in it. Okay, but this is where life gets really confusing, right? Because then people are like, well, man, now I'm almost like more confused. What is important? So there's an association called the National Association of Colleges and Employers. It's a lot of employers that give a lot of feedback to colleges and universities about what they are looking for when they're hiring applicants or they're looking at resumes, right? So if you look at the red one and the one on the right, so the most important skills that employers are looking for in a candidate. They're talking about things like teamwork skills, planning, organizing, making decisions. It could be about time management, team stuff, prioritizing, processing information. So where can you develop those skills? Your classes, maybe, but I'm not really going to let you use your classes. Where are places you can develop the skills that employers are looking for? Mm-hmm. It could be an internship, right? Because your internship is basically like you're testing a career or you're testing a job. Sometimes you do an internship, it's great, and you're like, oh my God, this is so awesome. And then sometimes you do an internship and you're like, not awesome, which is actually helpful because then it helps you think about if this isn't awesome and I'm not interested in it, is it because I don't like the work that I'm doing? Is it I don't like my supervisor? I don't like the office? And then you could potentially might tweak and find a different internship in the future that you like better. Internship is one way to develop some of these skills. What are other ways? Karen?
Outside activities like at your parish or any leadership roles in student organization.
So it could be like your religious institution, like if your religious institution has like a youth group or something, student organizations, you could develop leadership skills by being in a position or helping plan events. Okay, yes. What else? What are other ways that you can develop those skills? Internships and student orgs agreed for sure, and also like outside groups like religious groups and stuff like that. What else? I'm doing it tomorrow. Anyone ever like volunteer anywhere? Right? Sometimes as a volunteer, like you can develop skills. Like I'm helping checking people in at a fundraiser, so I have to be organized, making sure that I like check off the right people on the right list. Some of them have to pay, some of them don't have to pay. So volunteering also can be a way to develop some of those skills. Any other things that we haven't thought about? How you can develop those skills? Karen?
Adding to outside things outside of like class, it would be fellowships, kind of like 260 Nerds or
Okay.
We're in America Needs You.
Okay, so like an outside organization, like some people are in Bottom Line or America Needs You or One Goal or like those types of groups. Yeah, absolutely. Or 1 Million Degrees, that's like another group that people are in. Right. So I guess what I'm saying is like these are skills you can be developing during college, and some of those happen in your classes, but most likely a lot of those skills you need to develop somewhere else. How come nobody said a part-time job as a place to develop those skills? That's fascinating to me. Eek. Anyone work in like the service sector, like retail? I did that. Restaurants, yeah, on campus, right? Like a lot of times it's like customer service, it's teamwork skills, it's communication skills. You could be developing those skills in part-time jobs as well, on and off campus. Okay, so it's kind of repeating what I'm saying, but like what does matter? Your degree does matter, right? Because a lot of jobs are looking for somebody who has a 4-year degree. And experience matters, especially all the things we just talked about. Building a professional network, So then that way, when you're starting to apply for jobs, you want to know people in those industries so that way you can meet with them, they could give you advice, and that's what we're going to talk a lot more about, that networking piece next semester, and also soft skills and hard skills. So soft skills are like the people skills, the teamwork skills, and hard skills could be like coding a website, or it could be laboratory techniques. These are things that are important, and the experience and these guys, the skills and experience that you can do as being part of student orgs and getting involved on campus, those can help you with those two areas. Because that's the thing, it's not just your degree. Your degree is really important, but that's not the be-all, end-all. We want to help you develop these other skills. And again, because if you test something out and you don't like it, we want to make sure that you're getting experiences that you are excited about. So this other little graph or little, I don't know, data point, I think is also pretty important. So again, we also asked NACE again, the National Association of Colleges and Employers, when they're hiring candidates, right, what are their preferences? So the first thing says, I prefer to hire candidates with relevant work experience. So we don't have the 2018 data yet, but we have 2017. They want to hire candidates with relevant work experience. Look how high that is. It's almost 65%. That's what employers said that they want. Not just work experience, but they want relevant work experience. I would say that's internships, that's volunteering, that's work, something that's relevant to the job. And the other piece is, like, obviously they're still important if you have some type of work experience. That's still important, right? It's like 25, 26%. But then the last thing says work experience doesn't typically factor in. Most of them said that's actually not true. So what we want to help you do during this program is think about what careers you're interested in, and let's help you get relevant experience, because that'll make you a competitive candidate, and it'll help you test out if that's actually what you want to do or not so much. Okay, this is my last slide of myths. My last slide about myths. So there's only one right career for me, so I have to choose wisely now. Oh my gosh, have you ever heard that? Ever felt like that? And you're right, it's like choose your own adventure, like I could go down this door, or I could go down this door, and then what if I make the wrong choice, and then I'm screwed? Anyone ever thought about that? I know, right? Yeah, but actually that's the thing about careers now. It's actually not true anymore because there's so many, like Karen said, there's lots of different ways to get to a career goal. It's not like you're gonna make the wrong choice and then your life is over. We're going to teach you how to develop skills that can apply to a lot of different areas, not just one. There is not one right answer to your life. There's just not. Because if there was, it'd be cool if we had a book of answers, then we could look in the back and like see what they are, right? But that's actually not how it works. There's not one right answer. There's a lot of interesting answers and a lot of interesting things that you could be doing. So just, I know that feels like that's true, but it's actually not. So the other thing too is like, this is the other thing. People think like you're gonna have a dream and the dream will tell you like, okay, you should do this, or like you should major in this, or you're gonna go see a psychic. I mean, psychics can be helpful, but in this situation, I don't think they're gonna be that helpful. So knowing what you wanna do comes from talking to people who are doing those jobs. It talks from researching, and it talks from really thinking about yourself and your interests. So it's not gonna come to you in a dream. At least I don't think that's very common. So sorry if you're hoping for the dream, but like I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen. Okay, let's see. So, I don't know if people have ever heard about this, but there's actually a process for thinking about career stuff. Even if you feel like you're just making up as you go along, there actually is a process, and it's actually pretty helpful. So the first step is what we're spending most of this semester working on. So it's assessing. So it's actually assessing you. So it's helping you assess your interests, helping you assess your values, and what are things you're interested in? What are skills that you have, and how does that relate to maybe what you're thinking of doing in the future? And then the next one is exploring. How do you guys think you could explore? What does that part mean as part of this career development process? Assessing is kind of assessing yourself and your interests and your skills. And then it kind of shows us the next thing kind of looks like it's supposed to be exploring. How do you explore? What could that part mean maybe? Or hypothesizing. I'll help you out if you're having a struggle, but like what could explore maybe mean?
Being involved in anything that has to do with it.
Okay, so Alexa said like being involved in anything that has to do with that. So yeah, like explore could be like, okay, so I think I want to be a nurse, and I'm pretty interested in being a nurse, but like, okay, what do nurses do all day? Or like, what kind of nursing jobs are out there? So exploring could be like talking to people who are nurses. It could be doing some research online, and I'll show you some pretty reputable websites and information. Explore is like doing a lot of research and talking to real humans who are doing what you think you're interested in to learn more about that part. Because sometimes when you explore, sometimes you're like, man, what do nurses do all day? And you talk to some nurses and you do some research, and then you're like, ugh, I don't want to do that. I want to help people, but I don't want to like help them by taking their blood. I want to help them in a different way. And then we try to help you explore some other ideas. What do you think testing might be? It's not like a paper test or anything, or like an exam. I feel like college students are like, oh crap, there's a test. But like, what do you think like testing might be? Mm-hmm.
I know like some jobs offer you to like shadow
Uh-huh.
the job to see if you like it, so that's basically testing it.
Yeah.
You're just gonna be there for a day to see how the job is, and if you don't like it.
Totally. Has anyone ever done like a job shadow? Yeah. What was it like? Was it helpful? Was it just confusing?
I mean, for me, it was helpful because I want to be a teacher, so I did observatory hours.
Okay.
And I learned a lot about like how like instruction and what the teachers do to teach.
Got it. Do you feel like for you that kind of confirmed, like, okay, yeah, like I think this is what I want to do? Okay, for some people the job shadow is like super helpful. Other people, Wayne, Asema, you had your hand up.
Very similar. Like you have these expectations that you have in your head, and then you do a job shadow, and it kind of brings a more real look
Got it.
into your mindset.
Same thing for you?
Yeah, for sure. For me, it was kind of the opposite. So I shadowed a pharmacist and a physician,
Okay.
and I got to see like open foot surgery, which was like, oh, that's cool, but no.
Okay, so she shadowed a pharmacist and a physician, and you said, I'm sorry, you saw open heart surgery?
Yeah.
And so you were like, oh man, I don't think I want to do that?
Yeah, for sure.
Got it.
Oh, that's really fascinating. But I do it.
That's very fascinating, but like maybe not a good fit for me. And so as far as setting up job shadows, people want to know, like, how do you do that? That's something that we can talk about, trying to help you connect with people in careers you're interested in, to potentially spend a half a day with them or a day and kind of see what they're doing. I worked with a student for a couple of years who just graduated, and he, kind of similar to Asema, so he did this really prestigious like summer research program, and they were, all the like summer interns or whatever were observing an open heart surgery, and he fell asleep. And so then he and his family, talking with Steve, his family really wants him to be a doctor from his whole beginning of life. You're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna be a doctor. And he was like, I thought it was kind of boring, and like I didn't really like it. So then he had a little bit of like an identity crisis, and we started figuring out like what are other things he could be doing that are related to health in the medical field, but isn't being a doctor. And so for him, that testing piece over the summer was so crucial, because he was like full steam ahead. Like, I'm going to take the MCAT, I'm going to go to medical school, I'm going to be a doctor. And then he's like, I actually don't really like it that much. So he's now, I think, interested more in public health, which is about educating people about diseases and about kind of health equity. So it's related, but he doesn't want to be a doctor. And his family, I think, is still working through what that means, because they really want him to be a doctor, but he is very clear that he doesn't want to be a doctor. Right, and that happens as well. So that testing piece is crucial, because sometimes you get confused, and it's good to see what it's like for real before you're starting to make a lot of decisions about things. And then acting could be lots of things. Acting could be, okay, I tested it, it seems like a great fit, I'm really excited, I'm gonna start looking for jobs, I'm gonna start looking for internships. Acting is sort of feeling a little bit more secure in what it is you want to do. But sometimes this is what happens, kind of like what Asema said to some extent. Sometimes you test something out, and also like the student that I was talking about, and sometimes you're like, eek, I don't like that. Ugh. So back to the drawing board, and then we'll help you try to think about, well, what's similar to being a doctor but not the same thing? Or what's similar to being an attorney but not the same thing? What are skills that attorneys do that maybe you could do in a different field? So there is a process, and it's something that we try to think about as we kind of help you figure things out. Okay, so my watch officially is not working, which is sad. Okay, let's see. I'm going to talk a little bit about, let me think. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do during our next workshop, and then I have a little, kind of like a more fun activity for you all to do. So next workshop, I just want to let you all know, it's going to be a little bit of a different format. So I'll be talking for maybe half of it, maybe like a half an hour, and then the other part of it is going to be our peer guides plus some other upperclassmen who are going to potentially join us are going to be talking about how they got involved on campus. What do they do on campus? And also a little bit about talking with professors to kind of, share that experience with all of you, because I know a lot of people have talked about wanting to get involved, but trying to figure out what are your options, what's a good fit, what's something they're interested in. So it'll be probably half time talking with peer guides and hearing from peer guides and asking them questions, and then half hearing a little bit from me. We're talking a little bit more about experiences on campus. So I think that's what the rest of the slide says. Okay, also, before the next workshop, I'm going to send you a little, like a YouTube link, and also a very short, it's 2-page, very short, I think it's from the Huffington Post article, about getting involved on campus, and I'll want you guys to review those things before you come back. I'm telling you, it's going to take you about 20 minutes. It's pretty quick, but I do think it'll be helpful to set us up for our conversation. A couple other just like things to note. So I put these little flyers on your table. I don't know if people have heard about this. Is actually a new event at UIC that Career Services is doing a lot of kind of promoting. We're really excited about it. So it's in a couple weeks. There is a JCPenney in North Riverside, which I think is pretty close to like Cicero and Berwyn, and they're basically staying open late just for us and recent UIC alums to come and shop, and then you get 40% off, even if it's already on sale. So you potentially could get stuff to wear for an interview or just professional gear, including like shoes and purses and ties and all that fun stuff. You all are going to eventually get access to interview attire towards the end of this year. As part of this program, but this also could be something you're interested in. Your families are also welcome to come with you. You're going to be the person that gets the discount, but if your family might help supply some of the funds to make that all happen, your families are definitely welcome to come too. And it is free, and there'll be a bus from campus, a couple buses from campus going to the mall and then back and forth. You also, if you live close to there, you also can get there on your own. That's your choice. Just want to make sure you know about it, and if you want to go, you do need to sign up, just because we want to make sure we know how many students are going to come. So recent alums who've graduated in the last 5 years can come, and also current students. So that's just some stuff about the suit up stuff. I'm also going to send you all, I believe it's 3 questions, a very short survey, get your feedback about today's workshop. We're always trying to tweak things, we're always trying to change things, but I would like to hear a little bit about what you took away, what's sticking with you, that type of stuff. Questions about suit up, or about some of this other stuff. Okay, when is our next workshop?
Next Friday.
Is it? You have the answer. Good thing we have the answers. October, yeah, so not next, if you're a peer guide, we have a peer guide meeting, but if you're not a peer guide, then yeah, it's October 9th, right? Because no, that's not next week. Wait, oh, so it depends. If you're a Tuesday person, you're coming October 9th. If most of you are Friday folks, you're gonna come, what is that day like the 12th, right, exactly. So just make sure you have that in your calendar or planner. I can't remember if it's here or not, I think it might be. Just make sure you have that information somewhere, and I'll send you some texts. Are the texts annoying you? No. Okay. I feel a little stressed about sending you texts, but then I also feel worried that you're not going to know where you're going. Okay, so I think in the interest of time, this is what we're going to do. In your little tables that you're sitting in, I would like you guys to chat about, because then you're going to do a survey about this, what is something that stands out from you from today's work? Something that stands out from you, or maybe something you still have a question about. Just kind of sit in your tables. I feel like that would just be easier than what I was going to do, and also we'll be able to get out on time. So let's do it that way. So something that stands out to you, something that they're like, oh, I didn't know that, or that's interesting. Chat about it in your group, because that'll also help you just do the survey really fast when I send you the link. Cool? If you haven't introduced yourself to your table mates, this would also be a good time to do that too. Do you guys have to go to class?
I thought it was gonna be more.
Hey, ladies, are you guys going to class?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you. No, it's fine. No, and I'm glad that, yeah, and then I'll send you the link. So basically what they're answering, and you're just going to do it in a survey.
Okay.
Good to see you guys. Thank you for coming. Oh no, Karen, you're going to have to join another group.
Yeah. Can y'all adopt me?
She wants to be adopted. Do you have class? Do you have to go to work? Yeah, that's fine. Thank you for reminding me. I kind of forgot. But you'll get the survey so you could kind of answer this in a survey. But we should talk more about what you were talking about before about Spanish and stuff. Yeah.
I went through the video, but I didn't get a chance to send an email. That's
No, yeah. No, right. So is this something you think you're interested in doing? Okay, cool. You think we try to make Tuesdays or Fridays work?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. So I will. Did he send you all that?
That was every week, but
Oh yeah, no, it's not. It's 5 workshops each semester, and then you meet with me twice each semester just for some career advising help.
because we were in the same class last semester and we were in the same exact issue. He's like, hey, I'm doing this.
Cool. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's not every week, but and like literally the dates are for the semester are like like this is it.
Yeah.
And then we're working on the dates for next semester as well.
Okay.
So that part's not done yet, but it will be. Can I ask you a
Send
question?
that email? Sure.
Yeah. So he sent you. Did you see that there's like a link to watch the video? He sent you all
I
that.
watched
Okay.
all the videos.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So just send me your answers,
Okay.
and then like just maybe tell me about your schedule for next week. And then my schedule's a little crazy, so you might meet with Marisol, who's the other staff person. We'll meet with one of us, but tell me like a lot about your schedule, and that way she and I will try to figure out like when you're free, and then when we're free.
I'm pretty much free after, so
Here, I'm gonna take notes then.
So I have lecture in the morning. I'm only taking 2 classes this semester,
Okay.
but usually afterwards I go to study. So
Okay.
before I study, I guess you can just
Okay. So yeah. So like every day, it sounds like you're done by like what time?
I'm usually done. I'd say by. I can't even remember my schedule, even though I go every day.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's 10 to 10:50.
Okay. So you're done after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after that, I study.
Okay. Cool. Okay. And then do you have classes Tuesday, Thursdays, or no?
I do have class Tuesdays, but those are like the early classes, like
Got
8
it.
a.m.
So are you done after 8 a.m.?
Yeah, I am.
Or I guess after 9. After 9. Yeah.
About
Okay.
like 9.
Okay. So most likely you're gonna meet with Marisol only because like my schedule next week I have no availability, but she might. So basically you're gonna get an email from either myself or Marisol, be like, hey, and then can you write out your first and last name and your email address? And one of us is gonna send you an email. That's like, hi, we'd like to meet with you. And then depending on who you're meeting with, we'll tell you where our offices are. Either wherever. Yeah. My guess is it'll probably be like.
Nice pen.
I know, right? It'll probably be like it'll be later in the week because I'm out Monday, part of Monday and Tuesday, and I think she is too.
So should I write Friday?
If you'll just write, because I have to take notes. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, and then if you'll just give us your email address, and one of us will send you an email that's like, hey,
My personal or
whatever one you check. Whichever one you check is the one yeah. And okay, cool. Do you normally take 2 classes each semester? Is that?
So basically, I'm like done with all my gen eds.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
so I'm just, when I was taking the CS classes, it was just like,
It's a lot.
like the classes, they're not.
I know, they're crazy. I've
and
heard.
I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to do, like I see people like pack all these together, but I
Yeah.
was like, what's the point of taking it if you're just doing it just to finish it?
Yeah. So are you the first person in your family to go to college in the U.S. or no?
So I had an older sister, but she kind of just did an associate's.
Okay,
My
but-
dad also did an associate's, but he,
But like a 4-year degree.
no. Well,
Yeah, so you're the
I'm
first one. Yeah.
In my family.
Got it. Cool.
So,
And okay, I was just because the program is mostly for students who are the first in their families. That's why I was
Yeah.
just checking. And 2-year degrees are great. It's just that this particular, obviously UIC is more of a 4-year school. So it sounds like you're thinking about. Are you feeling clear on computer science or not necessarily?
no, not necessarily. It's because I have like there's a love for business as well as computer science and healthcare.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, you pretty much explained everything that I was feeling.
Oh,
in
really?
this presentation.
Oh, good. Well, good. I'm glad that it was helpful.
Yeah.
So basically, what I would recommend for you and for other students, I'll do something with you called a career assessment, where you answer a bunch of questions, like not like 5, like I think it's like 200, like a bunch of questions, and then we'll look at your responses, and then we'll look at responses of other people who are employed, and we'll try to compare what are your interests versus other people who are employed, and try to give you some ideas. It's not going to tell you what to do. It'll give you ideas.
Is that?
It's called the Strong Interest Inventory. Have you ever done that?
No, I've heard of something called a Focus 2 or something.
It's
like that.
similar, but I would say the Strong Interest Inventory, in my opinion, is a little bit more extensive, and I think it's a little bit more information, which is you have to ask them a lot of questions, but it's very informative. And again, it's not going to be like, Arbaz, you should do this. It'll be like, hey, based on your interests and your personality, these seem like they might be interesting to you. And then, but what could happen is it could say healthcare, computer science, but then we'll also keep thinking about what does that.
Like so many of those, and it would land on those,
It could.
That's that same exact spectrum.
But the good thing is, there's actually crossover between those two. I also think for you, maybe talking to people who work in healthcare, or talking to people who do computer science, or talking to people, because maybe talking to some real people in those jobs, might give you some more clarity on whether or not that's what you want to do.
Yeah, of course. Exactly. To me, it's more like wanting the versatility to do all these things. And when I look at college, I'm just thinking, okay, so if I'm getting this degree, I'm most likely going to be limited to just.
But most likely, you're going to have multiple careers, most likely, right? So we're thinking about what's your career going to be like for the next 5 years after you graduate from college. Honestly, I think it's better to sort of think about like that, because that's actually probably most likely.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick something that you're going to do, because again, jobs really do change. So try to let's try to think about, for the 5 years after you graduate from college, what are you going to do? Does that make sense? Because maybe you'll start out on computer science or whatever, and then and then you may end up wanting to be more healthcare.
Yeah.
And you might need a degree for that. It depends on what it is.
Yeah, and so when I was taking my UIC recs for computer science, so instead of taking the easier classes like geology and I was taking biology. So I was substituting, because it was pretty much hitting 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
Trying to get because as you said, you can get any.
To some
degree.
extent, yeah.
And then.
But helping you think more about what are those jobs like? Because taking classes is one thing, and doing the job is not the same thing.
Of course.
And so talking to people who are doing some of those jobs, helping, what is their day like? What's a week like? What's, because all of those things, you could be very successful in all those areas. It's not they're all very viable: business, healthcare, computer science, very viable career options.
Yeah.
You could have a lot of options. Again, it's not there's one it's just what's one do you want to pursue now?
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, I think that something like this could be helpful for you. And it's, do you remember when you last did Focus 2 or last did some of those interest inventories?
I heard about it, but I wasn't able to do it.
Okay, so you haven't done it. Okay, so that's even better to be.
I heard about it. And
Got it. And did you go to Morton as well, or did you go somewhere else?
No, I went to Readiness.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I think this could be helpful for you, and it's okay that you don't know.
So I was like, you know what? Let me,
try it out.
Because it is definitely going to set things into perspective.
I think so.
And, many people would say, oh, just go to one of those career coaches that they can help you try and direct you into something.
But I don't want to direct you into something. I want to help you.
Yeah, realize what.
Exactly. Right.
So
Exactly.
That's what they were kind of saying, they can help you, kind of realize, hey, what your interests are, and based on that, you can kind of direct yourself.
Right, absolutely. And it's okay that you don't know. Like those are all really smart career fields. Like they're no bad. I see no bad options. I see those are actually all really good options.
And I just happen to like all of them.
And
that's what makes it hard.
But also like that's gonna make you like a more multifaceted employee. Because it sounds like maybe you're a people person, and then you're kind of like a technical person, and like most jobs you have to do all those things. Or most of them aren't just technical or just people, it's both. Yeah. So you're going to be a wonderful employee eventually, depending on what. So like I actually think it's good. It's good to have multiple interests. That student that I was talking about who thought he wanted to be a doctor, he started a business. He wants to do public. He has like 40 interests, and so and I'm always like, well, just start with something, and then like you could go to other things.
So your mind is all over the place.
But I think it's actually a strength because most jobs are very like complicated. Yeah. So try to reframe like you have a lot of interest because you have a lot of talents. Yeah. Not that you have a lot of interest because you're confused. Yeah. I think you probably have a lot of talents and we're trying to figure out which ones to utilize. So, just something to think about. Either myself or Marisol will reach out to you, but it probably won't be till like next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, and she has a really long last name, so it's Miss Strangelo. So just FYI, because it might be myself or it might be Marisol who sends you an email.
My number?
No, just your email. Well, yeah, and as long as you check your email, then yeah, one of us will send. We both work in SSB. Do you know where the Student Services Building is? Racine and Harrison. Yeah. This is where financial aid is.
I forget because I don't go there too often.
Yeah. So it's across from the pavilion. So our offices are both in there. Right. So I'll talk to Marisol, and then we'll figure out which one of us will meet with you.
All right, and I'll still send that email.
That would be great. Yeah, that'd be perfect. And it's IR. Is it BAZ?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And then okay, and that's I. Okay, okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that Steve told you.
No, I was like, he brought her up like, hey, doing this program. I was like, what is it? It was only like 2 weeks ago. And then,
it's new too, so I feel like the word is also not out. And also we only have 25 spots. We don't have that many spots available, so we don't want to like blast it because we can't take everybody. So it's good. It's good, and he talked about that too, like what you're talking about.
We were in the same class.
Yeah.
And then it's like kind of like the structured environment that is for that career.
So that's a clue.
And
maybe.
But then again, if I were to pick up that book myself at home and do it, I have no issue with it. Which is weird. It's a weird,
it's okay. I don't think it's bad. So, but it sounds like you're thinking more Fridays, is that correct, versus Tuesdays? Okay. And then do you think that you'll be able to get your prayer in? Like, I don't want you to not be able to pray.
I'll just do it myself. Usually it's congregation, but
okay, got it. And do you guys do it in this building?
Yeah.
Okay, almost like in the tower. Okay, got it. Because I don't want you to miss out on that either, but.
No, but I'll just do it myself.
Okay.
But usually I like,
do it. Yeah. Okay, as long as it's okay with you.
Yeah.
Then like, okay, great. I think. Okay. How you guys doing? Did you have a little chat?
About chances for Korea this summer.
I'm sorry, you went to what?
Korea.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Does that like kind of inform like what you're thinking about doing?
Yeah, like what I'm hoping to do after I graduate is to take a certification test, like to fluent in English.
Oh, cool.
So I can just go teach anywhere in the world.
Like I think it's called TOEFL or there's some or TOEFL or maybe TOEFL. Yeah. Cool. That's awesome.
I just want to go do that. I want to travel. And I just want to have people English.
Interesting.
Right now I'm in the international friends here.
Oh, cool.
Right now I was gonna go usually Mondays. Fridays I'm tired.
Yeah, I bet.
So
interesting.
We have English conversation where we just talk about it. We help them it helps
And that's a good thing to put on your resume too. That's a good thing to put on your resume as well. Okay, you guys, so we're done, but feel free to chat. But I just want to let you know if you have somewhere else to be, like that can happen. Perfect.
I think I'm almost
Cool.
we're having a good conversation today.
That's awesome. Okay.